welcome back from playing Java Puzzle Ball. In Lesson 2-2, we'll go over some of your observations you may have made while playing and discuss the differences between static and instance variables. We're going to be using the term variable. Like a variable in mathematics, a Java variable represents a value. Fields utilize variables. For example, in Lab 1, balance was a variable used to represent the amount of money in a savings account, and the value of balance may change. There are different ways that fields can utilize variables. We'll explore that in this lesson. We asked the question, what happens when you rotate the blue wheel? What happens is that the orientation of all blue bumpers changes. All blue bumpers share this same orientation property. Orientation can be represented by a static variable. How else can you affect the rotation of bumpers? After the ball strikes a rotation wall, the rotation of an individual bumper changes. Rotation can be represented by an instance variable. The static variable orientation is shared by all instances. Static variables apply to the class, not to any individual instance. Therefore, a static variable needs to be changed only once for every instance to be affected. In Basic Puzzle 11, rotating the red wheel once changes the orientation of all red bumper instances. Static variables still exist and can be accessed and changed even if no instances of an object have been created. In Basic Puzzle 11, the blue wheel can be rotated to change the orientation property of all blue bumpers. It's just that there's no blue bumper instances around to show the effects of this change. Instance variables, like rotation on the other hand, have unique values for every instance of an object. Therefore, instance variables need to be changed one at a time for each individual object. In Basic Puzzle 11, an individual red bumper's rotation changes only after being struck by the ball. So, just to summarize, a static variable exists once, but it applies to the entire class. It needs to be changed only once to affect all instances, and an example of this is the orientation of all red bumpers. An instance variable exists for every instance. The value of this variable applies only to one particular instance. Instance variables are changed one at a time for every instance, and an example of this is the additional rotation that's applied to an individual red bumper. And that just about does it for Lesson 2-2. I hope that you've been...
Oh
no! Stupid Nick! I'm Bubba the Thug, and I've got your class now, and I'm gonna teach them a lesson that they will never, ever forget. And unless you can solve my quiz questions, you will never see Nick again. Which fields could be represented by static variables? Which fields could be represented by instance variables? All red bumpers share the same color. This could be represented by a static variable. All red bumpers also have the same shape, a star. This property applies to the whole class and can be represented by a static variable. Because all red bumpers might have different positions, the variables X position and Y position could be represented by instance variables. And what does the Java syntax look like? If you want to make a variable static, simply include the static keyword when the variable is declared. Otherwise, the field will remain an instance variable. Yes, good. I am a great man. I am a gracious man. I will stop being ridiculous and let Nick tell you more about the Java syntax in the next lesson.